Hi guys, Mark Franke here. This video is to present the concepts of decision making, chapter 23. So far this semester we have focused on understanding the different types of costs that are associated with a manufacturing environment, our three product costs, direct materials, direct labor, factory overhead, and our two period costs, selling, and administrative expenses. And we also have focused on the behavioral aspects of these costs by separating all of these five costs into their fixed and variable components so that we can analyze what's happening in the business and make decisions. So this chapter is all about making decisions in a business environment, where we first define what it is we're trying to do, whether it's usually have two alternatives that we can identify. We can then gather information for evaluating the two alternatives, or in some cases there might be three alternatives, and then make a decision, select a specific course of action, and then after the decision has been made, evaluate whether it was a sound decision or not. So these exercises and problems are going to be based on a decision that is being made. So we want to focus on the relevant costs that are in the decision. See, these are costs that are applicable to a particular decision, and they're going to be future costs. So we're focusing on things that are going to happen in the future. And if we take this course of action, it's going to cost us this. If we take this course of action, it's going to cost us this. Not just a cost standpoint, but also revenue. So we have to evaluate, in some cases, we need to evaluate the revenue as well as the cost for different courses of action. And we're focused on the future costs. So one of the costs that is going to come up is a past cost or a historical cost, or what we call a sunk cost. A sunk cost means that we've already spent the money. Nothing we do in the future is going to affect the fact that we've already spent this money. So a sunk cost is in the past, and virtually in all cases is irrelevant, because there's nothing that we can do in as far as making the decision to change what's already happened. What we do need to focus on is out-of-pocket cost, which is costs that are going to be in the future, and opportunity costs, which is the opportunity cost means that we have lost revenue because we've done one thing versus another. So these are the costs that we must focus on, the out-of-pocket costs and the opportunity cost. So we're going to go through different scenarios or different types of decisions that relate to, first, make or buy. If we have the opportunity to make a part or a subassembly or something that's going to go into our product, and the costs that are associated with this, the incremental cost, the out-of-pocket cost to produce it versus what it would cost us just to buy it from an outside vendor. Now we want to focus on variable cost because that's going to be what's going to affect it in the future. The fixed costs usually are not going to be affected, although in some cases we might, and in that case we have to take those into account. We could also have a sell or process further type of decision. One example that I use is if we had an apple orchard or a farm where you produce apples, and we sell the apples as whole apples to grocery stores to sell to their customers. Or we could take the apples and process them into apple juice, and there's going to be a cost involved with the machinery to squeeze the juice out of the apples, and then the bottling of the apple juice into bottles and packaging, and then the shipping costs. The incremental cost of selling these apples as apple juice is, if we're going to make more money, then, and we want to be in the apple juice business, then we probably should make that decision, or at least start out by doing some and seeing how it goes. Scrap or rework. This is a situation where we have a defect in one of our products that we have already made. So we have some sunk cost where we've manufactured this product, and maybe it has a cosmetic problem where it's got scratched on it, or something happened in the production process, and so they're not exactly right. Well, we can evaluate whether or not we just sell them, scrap them, rework them, and we use the relevant costs, which are our costs of going forward with either one of these scenarios of either scrapping it or reworking it. And sometimes it can be opportunity cost. If we have to rework something, that means that we can't work on new product. And so the opportunity cost would be the revenue we would generate from making new product versus trying to rework the old product. We have sales mix issues. If we have a limited commodity or a limited resource, like a piece of machinery or even labor, where we have to decide, do we make this product or that product? If we make Snickers and Milky Ways and Three Musketeers, and they all use the same machine, well, we need to figure out, well, how many Three Musketeers should we make versus Snickers versus Milky Ways in our plant, and that's all based on contribution margin per unit of the scarce resource. If our scarce resource is a piece of machinery, then how many hours do we have available? And we would make the product that has the highest contribution margin per hour of that machine time, and until we can't sell any more of those, and then we start making the second one. We could also eliminate a segment. We have done some stuff on adding a segment. Well, this could be something that we could eliminate. And we have to focus on the avoidable expenses. If we're going to eliminate a particular segment of our business, what costs are going to go away, and what costs are not going to go away, particularly if it's part of a piece of our business now. The fixed costs are not going to change if we eliminate a piece of the warehouse or the factory, and we can either decide to do something like that, but we just have to take into account what is avoidable and what is not avoidable. Keep or replace a piece of equipment. Sometimes equipment is obsolete, or it's can be fixed, but new equipment is more efficient. Maybe we have expenses that are going to go down, like electricity, because we get a more efficient piece of equipment. Well, this is an analysis to keep the existing piece of equipment. Maybe we need to just retrofit it, and what the costs are, and of course the additional revenue or cost savings versus buying a new piece of equipment. We're going to do a lot of those in Chapter 24 because that's typically a longer term decision to keep or replace equipment. Pricing decisions. How do we price our product? Based on some sort of a target profit that we want to achieve, how much the customer is going to pay an additional amount. There's elasticity of demand in products. If we raise the price, lower the price, who's our competition? What do they do better than us? What do we do better than them? And is there market pressures on pricing from a competitive standpoint? And then, do we have a unique product? Can we differentiate our product from competitors so that we can get a premium price? Apple Computers is a classic example of a company that has a premium price. An Apple computer, an Apple iPhone, an Apple iPod or iPad, they're all more expensive than competing brands. But Apple has done a really good job of managing the expectations. They have great brand loyalty. People wait in line overnight to buy the latest Apple product, and there's not many companies that can brag about that. Products have a life cycle, and are they in maturity or are they new product? And so typically we can charge a higher price at the beginning life of a product, and then as it matures, the price usually comes down. And sometimes it can have a very short life cycle, sometimes it can have a very long life cycle. Barbie has been around for a long time. Barbie has a long life cycle. And who knows how long it will last for little girls and boys that play with these toys. So and then our last possible scenario is a special offer. We've done some of these in past chapters where somebody comes in and says, we want you to make we want to provide, or we're offering you a special price because we're going to buy a bunch of these and they're going to go in a market where we're not competing against your regular product. A lot of companies do this with Plain Wrap brand. If we make peanut butter and we have our own brands like Jiffy or Jif or any other peanut butter that's out there, and Stater Brothers or Costco comes to us and says, hey, we want you to make our plain generic brand peanut butter. Well, obviously, they're going to be competing with the peanut butter that we currently make. So we would want to be careful that we don't tell people that if you buy Jif peanut butter and Stater Brothers Plain Wrap peanut butter, you're getting the exact same peanut butter. So companies are very, very careful about not revealing that information. Anyway, that's it for this lecture on these. I'm going to do another video that will cover how to do the calculations, and I will use the B problems as an example for that. So bye for now, and look for video number 2 on doing the problems in chapter 23. Bye-bye.